Good evening, everyone, and again, thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Kyle Tyler. My family and I, we host the Lynnwood Young Life Club on Monday nights when we have club. These are unusual times and these are unusual circumstances, so there's just a small, very, very small group of us gathered together to help host the banquet tonight. And we really appreciate your support. We just ended the auction. We're moving more into our banquet to tell you more about Young Life and the ministry that we've been supporting throughout the year and throughout our time in the Lynnwood Terrace area. So for now, I just want to open in prayer, and then we're going to hear from our area director, Christy Sharman. So if you'll join me in prayer. Lord God, I just thank you for this evening. I thank you for all the people who are supporting us at arm's length. We're all social distancing. We're all taking care of our health and trying to do the best we can in circumstances that none of us have ever encountered before. And so I just pray that you would help us throughout this evening, that you would continue to let this ministry thrive. And I just appreciate all the things that you've done through this ministry, all the kids that you've touched through this ministry, and just everything that you've done for this community. I just pray for tonight and pray for all the people involved, the handful of us that are here, and that you continue to keep our community healthy. Thank you so much, and we just pray for your blessing tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to the Lynnwood Terrace Area Director, Christy Sharman.
Thanks so much, friend. Hi. I just want to begin with thanking everybody so much for joining us tonight. When everything started to happen around the world, we, like many others, had to make a decision about how to move forward in this season. We thought for a moment, should we cancel this fundraiser? Then we realized we can't do that. We're a nonprofit ministry, and it takes the support of many to continue to run a ministry, especially in a time like this. We do recognize that in this very hard season, not everybody will be able to sign up to be a new monthly donor or increase your current monthly giving. This is our goal for tonight, to increase monthly support. However, we do hope that if not tonight, at some point, you might choose to join our team and be a monthly donor. Our second thought was, maybe we can just figure out a way to do it differently rather than cancel it. In this season, in Young Life, we are doing everything differently, but we do continue to care for students and introduce them to Jesus, the one who can offer them peace and hope and joy, even in a season like this. I hope you're encouraged to know our leaders are thinking of new ways to be with students in this season. So as you can see, all the sweet things that make Young Life are still happening, including this fundraiser, which is good for 3 reasons. Number 1, we decided not to reschedule, so you won't have to fit this fundraiser into your schedule later. Second, if we're all together normally, right, you wouldn't want to be distractions. So for example, you might not get up to go to the bathroom in a regular fundraiser. At this fundraiser, you're not going to distract others. So if you need to play with your fidget spinner or walk around the room or even brush your teeth, you can totally do all of those things. We won't even know. But we do hope that you will stay present with us and stick with us to the very end of the evening. We don't want you to miss out on anything because we have some special things planned to encourage you tonight. And we all need a little bit of encouragement right now, right? Okay, third thing, at a regular fundraiser, you might feel like you need to look really nice. Or maybe your wife might think that you need to look really nice. But for you friends, you could all be wearing your pajamas tonight and I wouldn't even know. To all the husbands out there, you're welcome. Feel free to thank me with a nice donation to Young Life later. Just kidding. To be honest, I figured I should kind of look a little professional tonight, but I'm behind a camera, perfectly placed. So even you don't know if I'm wearing my Christmas pajama pants and my slippers right now. So friends, I just want to invite you to get comfy, settle in for about 30, maybe 40 minutes. Thanks again for joining us. It is an encouragement to see that you are with us virtually tonight. Right now, you can interact with us live using the YouTube comment section below. We will soon invite you to interact with us using a new app, or not a new app, but in a fun new way, using an app called the Mentimeter. So download the app on your phone now if you haven't done that. Before transitioning to the next thing, I briefly want to describe to you what it is you can expect from this evening. As we move forward tonight, you will have the opportunity to hear from some of our Young Life students and a few new Young Life staff. At the end of the gathering, I want to share with you the different ways you can support Lynnwood Terrace Young Life. But at this time, please join me for a very short video that gives us all a very clear look into the ministry of Young Life. Oh, and in case you've been wondering, this whole time, I've totally been wearing my slippers.
We live in a culture where kids are desperate for meaning and value. They're on this incredible search.
It doesn't matter their skin color, doesn't matter their economic status.
They're filling their lives with all kinds of things, trying to belong.
Kids desperately need caring adults that will come alongside them, get right in the middle of wherever they are.
Who love them no matter what. Young Life is caring adults who love Jesus and love kids, and they enter into a kid's world.
Young Life is all about going to where kids are.
We're not waiting for a teenager to come to our building. We come to them.
The Young Life leader comes in, loves them where they are, accepts them right where they are without judgment.
I'm doing life with them, and they get to see how I respond with Jesus in every circumstance.
We've been doing this for a long time. We've been around since 1941. We've got ministries in all 50 states, over 95 countries, and we're not going to stop there.
What I love about Young Life is our true commitment to every kid. Middle school kids, high school kids, college students, kids with special needs, teen moms, teens of military families.
When they develop that relationship with that Young Life leader and realize that that relationship's not going away, it's life-changing for them.
We do a lot of things to invite kids in. We have clubs.
Young Life Club is the 1 hour a week that we gather a lot of kids.
You're going to have fun, you're going to be energized, and you're going to learn that Christ is not boring.
It's a place where your kid can hear more about God, hear more about Jesus, and decide for themselves how they feel about that in a fun environment and in an accepting environment where people are going to love them and it's safe.
In the summer, we have an opportunity to take kids to camp, and Young Life Camp is the best week of their lives.
Many of the kids who go to Young Life Camp make lifelong decisions to follow Jesus. And the great thing about Young Life is when we send kids to Young Life Camp, they go with their Young Life leader. And that same Young Life leader who's been with them all year comes home with them.
When I come back from camp and my phone I'm getting text messages from parents saying, I don't know what y'all did with my children at camp, but they are different. You know, when I get that kind of stuff, then that's cool.
We take very seriously the task of teaching them how to follow Christ, teaching them how to pray, teaching them how to read the Bible.
We plug them into a small group of their peers, and we call it campaigners, helping them discover what it means to follow Jesus and encouraging them to plug into a local church.
The vision of Young Life is that every kid will have the opportunity to hear about Jesus.
Every kid deserves to know who God is, deserves to know that somebody loves them.
How can you join this adventure? Because we are moving and we want you to come along.
Our staff are amazing. We need more of them. Our volunteers are amazing. We need more of them. We have donors who give sacrificially, and we need more of them.
If you love the Lord and have a heart for teenagers, I can teach you the rest.
This is an investment that is going to change kids' lives for generations. This is going to change communities for generations.
We know that if we show up and be available, that God uses that process and kids' lives change.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Kyle Tyler again. There's a couple of us here, very few. Again, there's not a lot of us here, but I did want to introduce you to the wildlife leader, Jimmy Reed. He leads our middle school ministry, and so he's going to take it from here.
Thanks, Kyle. Hello, everyone. It's great to be with you. It's time to actually log into our Mentimeter app. We'll have the code on the screen for you in just a moment. And I have the first question. First question is, like the video mentioned, adolescents need caring adults to come alongside them right where they are. Can you think back to a time in your life when you really needed someone to come alongside you? For you, was it in your middle school years? That's number one. Number 2, high school years. Number 3, college years. Or number 4, all of the above. Go ahead and log in with code 229719 and answer the question now. Now, Kyle, as we're waiting for answers to come in, what would you say yours would be?
You know, it's interesting. I would probably say I didn't even know it at the time, but for me, a lot of it was during my high school years. I had a lot of different individuals who really spoke into my life, and I don't think I appreciated it that much. I grew up in a church, but I went to a lot of different youth groups, and so for me, it was the youth leaders that really impacted my life. And they're the ones who invited me to do different activities. They're the ones who kind of kept me busy, ran different programs, and you never really see all the work that goes behind all that. But those folks really introduced me into a community and then also just challenged me in my faith. And so I really appreciate those folks who really stepped into my life during my high school years. How about for you, Jimmy? What was it, high school, middle school, college?
That's awesome. For me, it was actually 2. The first one would be middle school. I remember I switched schools going into my 8th grade year, and I just needed a friend, and a couple people befriended me. And then in high school, I had some really challenging times, just personally, especially my sophomore and junior years. And I had Young Life type leaders in my life who loved me through those seasons and invested in me so much. I'm so thankful. Looking at the results now, I think if we're honest, we all needed help all the time, and over 52% of you said that one. And then about 15% of us said middle school, and 26%, a good chunk, said high school, and 7% college. So all of the above is the clear winner here. And I think the bottom line is we've all needed people in our lives who've cared about us, especially throughout adolescence. And tonight we want to encourage you with 2 stories from people who've experienced exactly that. The first one is from a student named Finley, and they first experienced this at Wildlife in their middle school years, and then now they're a high school student experiencing it still. And then the second story you're going to see is from Khaleesi. She's been involved with Young Life College, and she's actually going to be coming on the Wildlife team with me to serve middle schoolers. So we kind of see a full picture of the ministry in these 2 stories. And they have so many good things to share with you guys, but we had to condense it down to just a couple minutes. So after tonight, we're hoping to make their full content available to you. So look out for those videos being posted. Enjoy Finley and Khaleesi's stories.
Hey everyone, I'm Finley. I'm a student at Lynnwood High School, and I go to Lynnwood Young Life. And today I want to talk about my story. It started off where my dad was a pastor for most of the beginning of my life. And so all I knew was that, my family's Christian, and so should I. And so for most of my life, I had this relationship with God because that's what my family did. It was something that I felt like was special to me, but it was just my family does it, so I should do it. And most of my life I had this struggle because I kind of felt distant from God because of that. I didn't have that much of a relationship. 7th grade came by, and I was like, okay, I should probably go to Young Life. But also at the time, I was not social. I was very insecure. I was nervous and I was scared all the time. So I kind of just, went to school, went home. I didn't have a lot of friends. I was really sad because I felt not only distance from God, but, distance from everybody else because I didn't know who I was yet. I went there and I met all these great people. Nathan Fabia, he was my first Young Life leader, and we just really hit it off, and he talked to me. He's like, oh, so you're Sage's brother? I'm like, yeah. I was very quiet, but I also met people that are still my best friends to this day. It was the end of 7th grade, and they're like, hey, you should come to Young Life Camp. And every day we would have a specific time. We'd go to this kind of like a church, and he would talk to us about stuff. And after one night, he was like, okay, everybody, I want you to go outside and find a private place just with yourself. And I want you can read, you can take a nap, but what I hope you do is sit there and really feel and try to connect with God. I was really intrigued because I'd been having the best time of my life. So I sat there, and I remember there was this huge open theater, and I was behind it. And I was sitting there, and I just kind of prayed. I'm like, God, like, I know in the past I've been really doubtful of you, and I've kind of wanted you to just appear and just be there, because I've felt so lonely in life, and I really want to give this opportunity for both of us to just connect. Sitting there, and I just said, I want to welcome you into my life. I want this to be a relationship between me and you. And so I just sat there. Then all of a sudden I felt this wave of almost like love cross my, whole body. And I just felt like I was getting hugged by something. And I was just like, I smiled because I knew he was there. I just sat there and smiled. And after I went to Nathan, I was just like, hey, I think I just felt the Holy Spirit. Like, I'm freaking out. Like, this is crazy. And he hugged me and he was like, that's so great. I'm so happy for you. Like, this is so great that you could experience it. And because of Young Life, because of me going there and feeling welcomed by the leaders, and I started going to church more. I started reading the Bible more. So yeah, that's my story with Young Life. Have a good day.
Hi guys, I am Khaleesi. I was born in Tonga. I came to the US when I was about 7 years old. My uncle and aunt took me in, so I had been raised in the US for about 13 years now. Growing up here was a little hard because I did have to go to school out of district, so everything was a little bit different than how everyone else was raised here. I graduated high school in 2018. So I have been in Edmonds for about a year and a half now, and I think I have 3 more quarters left, so wish me luck, guys. I was introduced to Young Life by one of my friends that I had accounting class with. They were all going to Snowflake Lane, which was one of the activities they do outside of club. After Snowflake Lane, I decided to join my first Young Life club. And everyone there was so welcoming, so I was a little bit nervous, but Kevin, Christy, and Linda were so welcoming, and we played games, had pizza, and just shared our stories, and everyone was just so welcoming, and we had a lot of fun together. College Young Life Club is it's really fun. It's really, really fun. It's a little bit different than the high school and middle school club. During club, we watch these alpha videos, and we have the time, we just pause the video and we have the time to share our views on what we think. So Summer Staff is a group of college students who make Young Life Camp happen. So we are given our own separate jobs, and we serve kids at camp, and we just have a lot of fun while learning about Jesus and meeting new people. One of my goals for this year was to definitely get a closer relationship with God. And I knew that this was a great opportunity for me to learn about myself and being able to help others out there. You should definitely come to Young Life. I regret not going earlier in high school or middle school, but Young Life is definitely a club where you want to put your kids, your friends, your nieces, your nephews into. It's definitely fun. Everyone's very welcoming, and you make new friends and learn about God.
I hope you enjoyed those powerful stories. As Young Life leaders, we get to bear witness to stories like that on a relatively consistent basis, which is just amazing. And we want to continue to share those with you. Now, for question number 2, I want to send it over to Kyle.
Hey, everybody. So, as Jimmy said, we're now going to go into Metameter again and do another question based off of some of the things that Finley and Khaleesi were saying. So, the question for you is, as you were able to see on the video, Finley and Khaleesi were exposed to Jesus, and because of that, they were able to grow in their faith. So we were hoping that you guys would share some of the ways that you were able to grow in your faith after you were exposed to Jesus. So question number 1 is, were you exposed by your family, parents, other family members? Was it through your church, your pastor, your youth pastor? Was it through Young Life, or through Young Life Leader, or some other type of missionary ministry out there? Or was it just some other way, maybe a neighbor or something like that? If you can share those answers, that would be great. I know for me, they actually didn't have Young Life when I was in high school or middle school. And so I didn't know much about Young Life at all until I got into college, and I actually had some friends that were Young Life leaders. So for me, it was mostly my parents getting me, and my mom specifically, getting me to go to church and getting involved with those Young Life leaders, or excuse me, those youth pastors that I mentioned before. Jimmy, what was it like for you? Who are the people that influenced the most through your faith?
For me, growing up, my parents made it a huge point to share the love of Jesus with me. And as a child, I remember receiving that. But as a high schooler, when it came time to own my own faith, it was actually a missionary in southern Mexico who made me pray for someone else. And in the midst of that prayer, he actually told me literally, shut up and pray. That's when Jesus' love came to me and it became real. So you never know when Jesus is going to break through to a student or to really anyone.
And we'll take a look at some of the responses that we got. So it looks like a lot of it is parents and family that have really had that influence on people's lives, as well as some involvement with church or with youth pastors. The Young Life is a little low. We're hoping to be a little higher considering this is a Young Life event. But I also know that Young Life isn't in every single school, and we're actually trying to increase what we're doing with Young Life. So that is definitely something we're trying to do.
I think that actually shows something really cool, because Young Life isn't trying to replace family or church, but rather to work with parents as they disciple their kids, and at the same time put and plant students in churches. We see that every week as Young Life leaders bring their students to church. So it's cool to see it that way too.
All right, so now what we have is another video that we're going to show you, but just to set it up a little bit. So a couple of the people that have become deeply involved with Young Life is actually Jimmy and his wife, as well as Ashley Nicholson. So the Young Life group serves a lot of different schools in the area. Lynnwood High School, Banquet Terrace High School. They also serve Alderwood Middle School and Briar Terrace Middle School. And then we're also trying to open up a ministry for teen moms, and that is what Ashley is really working toward right now. And so a couple of the ministries that we wanted to focus on in this video are a middle school ministry, which is what Jimmy and his wife are really working on, and then also a ministry toward teen moms, which is what we're hoping to bring Ashley on and work for. So we're going to go ahead and roll that video.
Hi everyone, my name is Jimmy Reed. I serve as Wildlife Director. Wildlife is middle school Young Life. We go to where students are and build friendships. We put on fun parties for students that we call clubs, where we share Jesus little by little, and we invite middle schoolers to their own summer camp in Oregon, where they have an incredible time. I've really enjoyed joining students for lunch at their schools. I help pass out popcorn, I play football, or sometimes I just hang out. I like to walk down the aisle in the cafeteria and pray, asking God, who needs a friend today? And then sitting wherever that might lead me. One thing I've really enjoyed is that they're not afraid to ask direct questions. One time they asked me, what is heaven like? And then they leaned in to listen like I would know exactly what it was like. Two highlights from this year that I want to share with you. One is a time when I was in the lunchroom asking that exact question. I sat down with two students, not knowing anything about them, but I got to meet them and they were really friendly. One happened to be from the nation of Georgia in Eurasia. He had moved here just a few months ago. He apologized for his English even though he was fluent in 6 languages. The other had moved here from Iraq just 3 years before. It's such a privilege to get to serve students like these. Another highlight this year was putting on our first annual Turkey Bowl experience, where students got to play for our very own wildlife football, and they even got to sign their name enshrined forever in the glory of wildlife. One thing that would really help us at Wildlife is helping us to spread the word to parents and students as we continue to reestablish our ministry. And then another thing would be praying and considering for yourself becoming a leader. We need more leaders, and also considering supporting us financially.
Hi, my name is Ashley Nicholson, and I am the new Young Lives Coordinator for Lynnwood Terrace. And I'm sure you have heard of Young Life before, but maybe not of Young Lives. And that's a ministry that's super special and holds a very special place in my heart. It's working with teen parents in the community, and I've been doing this type of work for the past 2 or 3 years, and I'm so excited to be a part of Young Life now, getting to do the same thing. What I absolutely love about this ministry is just how unique and fun it is, and God has truly opened my eyes to the challenges that these teen parents have to go through every single day. And although they go through a lot of challenges, they also have so many beautiful things that I get to be a part of celebrating with them. This ministry can't happen without God. There's nothing else I can say about that, and I just know that He can do so much with this ministry and so much for these parents that we can even think of. He can provide homes for them, He can provide meals, and He can provide community and just love. A lot of these parents come from being kicked out of their home for being pregnant, for being in the foster care system, for living on the streets, and they have been just so isolated from the community and from their friends and their family and just from everyone. And to be able to be a part of a ministry that just comes in and says, hey, we see you and we love you and God loves you too, and just being able just to wrap our arms around them and just be the biggest, probably the only cheerleader that they have in their life. It's basically, I can't even put into words what this ministry can and will do for the teen parents in the Lynnwood Terrace area. I have the privilege of building this ministry, but it's going to take a lot of people and resources. So if you have a passion or know someone that has a passion to care for teen parents and their babies, I invite you to join our team and our cause. Some opportunities of ways to get involved would be becoming a mentor, providing childcare, providing a meal. There's nothing I get more excited about than knowing I am a part of something that impacts generations. Not only do I get to walk alongside of teen parents as they learn about Christ and become the mothers and fathers that they were called to be, but I get to watch them be an example of Christ's love to their kid.
I hope you enjoyed that video. Below you should be seeing links to where you can give to actually both Ashley and my ministries. You can click on those links at the end of this event to give to those ministries or to Lynnwood Terrace Young Life as a whole. And I'm excited to get to expand my role with Young Life, but to be honest, I'm even more excited for what Ashley's doing. If you consider the teen moms in Lynnwood and Mount Lake Terrace, to be able to have a loving community where they can meet Jesus and be cared for, it's going to be amazing. So please consider joining these teams. And then we have great news for you, a unique giving situation actually. Someone has stepped up and said, if you begin tonight with a monthly support, a monthly donation, they're going to give an additional $100 for every person who does that, or for every person who increases their monthly support. So something to think about. Now for our next question, I want to send it back over to Kyle.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming back. So we are going to do another question, but before we get into that, I just want to acknowledge that Jimmy and Ashley are doing amazing work in this community. It's something we appreciate and something that we really want to support. That is part of our goal for this evening. As we move into the next question, one of my spiritual gifts is the gift of transition. So we're going to talk more about support, and we're going to kind of get into what it means to support one another and maybe even revisit some of those love languages. So our next question is, how do you enjoy being supported, or how is it that you are supported? And so for question number one, is it through words of affirmation? Is it through physical touch? Maybe you're a hugger and that's hard to do right now, you know? Is it receiving gifts? Again, this day and age, this would be maybe a gift of toilet paper. Who knows? Is it quality time, just spending time with other people. And so those are your 4 options for tonight. If you notice, the code may have changed. The code is 478347, and those will show up with the questions there for you. So it looks like we got a couple results coming in, but if you can go ahead and jump in to the Mentimeter, then you'll be able to go ahead and respond to those. Again, it's words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, or receiving gift. These are the way that you appreciate our actions to show that you're being supported. So, Jimmy, you want to go ahead and share your love language and what you appreciate?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a quality time person. I just love getting to be present with someone, having their full attention, trying to give them my absolute full attention. And I know one thing I've experienced in going from a student to an adult to a husband to a father is that sometimes our love languages throughout our lives or throughout our season, they change how we give and receive love. And how about you, Kyle? What are the big ones for you?
Yeah, so for me, it's probably words of affirmation and physical touch. And man, I coach soccer, and one of my favorite parts is even at the end of a game, and good game, high-fiving everybody. You know, this day and age right now, it's killing me not to hug people, not to high-five people, just to motivate people, just to know that they're cared for, and also speak into their life, and also receive that as well. So I do appreciate that. So yeah, we're getting a few other responses. It looks like words of affirmation is a big one, and then quality time is another big one as well. All right. So thank you guys so much for interacting with us. This is actually really encouraging for us because we see that you're online. We see that you're interacting with us. Just responding to these questions, it's good for us. This is part of why we wanted to do it, because we're not able to be with you. And this is so different from any other banquet than we've ever hosted before. So the fact that we're able to interact with us, even learning a little bit about the community that is watching online, is huge for us, because there's just a couple of us here. And so it's great to know that you guys are out there and that you're responding to us. So for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it over to Christy, and she has a little bit of an ending message for you guys.
Well, friends, I hope you enjoyed our night together. It has been so nice to be with you. In this season of self-isolation, I have seen and heard from many who are feeling really lonely and scared and overwhelmed. This has been hard, but in this season of self-isolation and maybe more exposure to technology, you and I are in a place where many of our young people have been for a long time. Adolescents spend hours a day on technology and often show a false self to their virtual world. I hear how some youth feel like no one really knows the real them. They think if people really saw the real them, no one would want to be their friend. They can be whoever they want to be online, and they might have a lot of online friends and followers, but many of them feel lonely, more lonely than ever. There's a story in the Bible in Mark chapter 1. It's about a man who had leprosy. I think the average adolescent, and even many of us right now, can relate to this man because he too was lonely. You see, leprosy is a disease that has been around since ancient times. When Jesus walked the earth, it's well known that lepers were outcast. People were afraid that if they even touched the leper, they would get the disease. Back then, you might have seen a leper walking down the street shouting, "Unclean!" And people would they would just scatter. They would keep their distance. The leper had a lonely life and can relate to us and can relate to our teenage friends who may also have seasons of feeling really lonely. So back to the story in the Bible, though, about this man who had leprosy. I want to just share 2 verses that are in the Bible in the book of Mark. It says this: a man with leprosy came to Jesus, and he begged him on his knees. He said, "If you're willing, you can make me clean." And then Jesus, he reached out his hand and he touched the man. He said, "Be clean." Immediately the leprosy left him and he was clean. You might hear this story and think, wow, that is so cool. Jesus healed the man's disease, which It is so cool that Jesus has the power to heal people. But even beyond that, Jesus gave him something that might have made him feel even more loved, more healed. Did you catch it? He reached out his hand and he touched the man. He touched the man nobody else would dare to touch. Jesus did the one thing no one else was willing to do. He stepped into the man's world of isolation and I feel like he communicated so much with just one caring touch. I see you. I still love you. You're not gross to me. I'm not afraid to enter into your mess. The love of Jesus is like that. It comes without fear and it's unconditional. Only Jesus can love like this because he's God. We young life leaders are not God, but his love filling us is what compels us to step into the world of adolescents and love them the very best we possibly can. We don't point them to young life or to us, but we point them to Jesus, the one who knows them more than anyone else because God created them. Here is the thing, friends. We know that probably the majority of you may be in a really tough time for all kinds of reasons, including financial reasons. And we know it's a really crazy time to be doing a fundraiser. But we believe that the work Young Life is doing and the work our leaders is doing is really important. We think that what Ashley and Jimmy are doing is really important. And the work is got to continue, now more than ever. Personally, I know that when I give and I care about something beyond myself, it gives me so much life and joy. We hope this night has given you something to be joyful about. We hope it's brought you joy. And that if you're able to give even $5 a month, that it will bring you joy knowing that you're making a difference in the community. So whether you're in a place where you can give a little, or maybe you're in a place that's financially secure and you're able to give more, we want to invite you to support Young Life in 3 ways. You can support Lynnwood Terrace Young Life and the ministries that Lynnwood Terrace Young Life cover: college, high school, middle school, teen moms, kids with special needs. You could also support Jimmy and Ashley. You might not know this, but to be on Young Life staff, we all have supporters, people who get behind us and say, we believe in you and in what you're doing, and we're going to support you financially, monthly, not by giving us a check, but by donating to Young Life. And Jimmy and Ashley are personally fundraising right now for their positions, and they could use your help. And so if this is one of the things that you'd like to do to give, you can do that. You can give to support Ashley and her work with teen moms, or Jimmy and support his work with middle school kids. Or like I mentioned, you could give to Lynnwood Terrace Young Life. You can give to all 3 of these things, or just 2, or just 1, whatever you want to do. You can click the links below to donate. We're going to share with you the links also on our Facebook page and in a follow-up email for those of you who are on our newsletter list. Lastly, you guys, you can also go to lynnwoodterraceyounglife.org at any time of the year, really. But right now you can click on the events page, and on that page you'll find giving links as well as links to enjoy some more videos and learn more about the different branches of our Young Life ministry. You can click the About tab, and you can find other ways to get involved and join the team. Also on the homepage, you can click a button and send us an email with your prayer request. We will pray for any request that comes our way, and we would consider it such an honor to do so. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Right now, I would just like to close in prayer for all of you, and after that prayer, we will conclude with a really touching video that is a sweet representative of the lives impacted around the whole world by Jesus Christ through the mission of Young Life. Will you guys pray with me?
Jesus, thank you so much for your love. Thank you so much that it's unconditional. Thank you that you never leave us or forsake us. Thank you that you step into our messy lives. Thank you that you can give us peace and hope and joy in a world that feels a little bit shaky right now. For any friends tonight that just are not feeling that peace or joy or hope, Jesus, I just pray maybe even if they've never reached out to you before, that they would do that now, that they would know that you're there, that they can talk to you, that they're not alone, that you're with them, and that they can reach out to you, that they can begin a relationship with you, maybe even for the first time. Jesus, would you bless these friends that are watching, and maybe even those that might watch at a later time, and would they be just so connected with you, Jesus, in this time. Continue to bless this ministry. We trust you with all the details, with the finances, and with all of us that are involved. Jesus, just go before us with everything. We love you, we thank you, and we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen.
I see you, beloved.
My name is Inessa, and I accepted Jesus Christ this week.
Hey, my name is Diego, and I came home this week.
I'm Carmen, and I've decided to begin a new relationship with Jesus.
I'm Andrew, and I gave my life to Christ this week.
Hi, my name is Michaela, and I have come home this week.
Hi, I'm Vaughn.
I'm Caroline.
I'm Tyson.
I'm Macy.
Hi, I'm Thomas.
I'm Ashley.
I'm Jess.
I'm Julia.
Hey, my name is Vinny.
I'm Sarah.
I'm
Michael.
Noah. I'm Matt.
I'm Courtney.
I'm Jude.
I'm Alexis.
I made a first-time commitment
I made
to
my
Christ.
first real commitment to Jesus Christ. I've committed myself to Christ.
And I'm ready for God to be the center of my
My
life.
name's Henry, and I choose God.
I am Tyler. I recommitted myself to Christ.
And I've permanently committed myself to
And
Jesus.
I finally found God this week.
And on July 24th, I started my path with Christ.
Yo soy Natalie. Quiero seguir a Jesucristo.
I'm Samantha, and I came home to the Lord.
Hey everybody, just wanted to give you one final thank you for all of your support tonight and throughout the year and years that you've been supporting Young Life. One of the biggest things that Young Life leaders do is they have contact work with students, and they are not having that direct face-to-face contact right now, and they're missing that. And just like we talked about and being able to support each other, that's something that's missing right now. Leaders are still reaching out to kids. They're texting them, they're calling them, they're FaceTiming them and all that sort of thing. So they're going to keep that up. They're going to keep doing that. But we do need your support. And so we thank you for your prayers, for your financial contributions, and just for your willingness to support this ministry. And we thank you so much for tuning in tonight. We hope that we won't do it next year. But thank you for tonight and for all your support. God bless and have a good evening.